It doesn't matter whether you're about to start a business or you're in one right now. These are the 3 key things that you need to have before you get going. Hey, I'm Nadi, Elias, and this is the Daily Espresso. Now, I often speak with business owners that are struggling. They've got some problems. Now, when we dig deep and we ask them questions and we uncover what's really going on, there's 3 key things that I find that's just not happening. Number 1, there's a lack of clarity. Number 2, there's a lack of control. And number 3, there's no confidence in where this business is going. Now, if I were to start a business from scratch, or if I'm in business right now and things aren't going the way I'd like them to go, I'd be doing and implementing 3 key things in my business. And I'm about to share those with you right now. Now, let me share a little story with you. I recently had a conversation with a cafe owner, very far away from here, who I'd never met before, who reached out because they had some problems in their business. Now, they weren't starting out from scratch. In fact, they were 8 years into business. Now, initially, my thoughts were, hey, that's awesome, you've lasted this long. Now, incredibly in a space or in an industry where within Australia, it's got the highest exit rate within the first 4 years of business. In fact, it's almost over 50%. Now, going back to this story, it was a husband and wife set up. The husband was a chef, wife could control the front of house and bookkeeping and a number of business operations, but they weren't making money. They couldn't pay the tax office. In fact, they owed over $100,000 in debt to the tax office, and they were stressed, they were worried, and they didn't know what to do. They couldn't close the business down because they knew that the tax office would come straight after them. They couldn't do anything else within the business in their minds because they thought they were doing everything. And when we, discovered what was really going on, I broke it down into 3 key areas that I thought that they were lacking. There were the 3 things that they weren't doing. They had great pricing on their products. They had a really good list of what they were offering. They had, and they were in a tourist destination. They had truckloads or busloads of people coming in every day to buy from them. They could cut down on costs through them working in the business themselves. Now, forget the fact that they were paying themselves the correct amount. The business still couldn't make profits or have great cash flow. So bring it back to what we found out. Now, the 3 key things they didn't have is 1, a real plan of where the business was going. They just kept doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Now, that is the definition of insanity. But for these guys, it was the result of this was just simply no planning. They didn't know what tomorrow brought. They didn't know what was happening next year. Bring that into clarity. So a lack of clarity is what was going on in this business. A lack of clarity because they didn't have clarity over A, an exit strategy of where the business was going, but B, the numbers. They didn't know what was happening next month. They didn't know what was happening next quarter. They didn't know where they were going to get their next dollar from. Problem 2 they had was a lack of managing their money. Now, there's one thing of knowing their numbers and having that clarity, but the other one was having the control over the numbers and having control over the dollars that came into their business. Problem number 3 for these guys stemmed from being able to split every single dollar that came into their business into the right spots that allowed them to be able to pay the tax office, remove their debts down, pay themselves, pay for someone else so they could take a break out of the business. But unfortunately, they couldn't see the forest for the trees because they didn't step back out of the business and they didn't have the 3 key things within the business that gave them clarity, control, and confidence. They were always stressed, they were always worried, and they never took the business forward in the direction it needed to go. So here's what I proposed. The first thing was to put together a 1-page strategic plan, something quite simple enough to understand where the business was right now, the benefits of the business at the moment, any of the issues that were there, what needed to be tackled, and where the business was going. Number 2, to implement budgets and forecasts. Now, it sounds boring as hell, but there's nothing better that you can do within your business to get financial clarity in knowing where the next dollars are coming from and where they're going. Now, it wasn't an exercise where we had to smash down every single cost within their business. Their costs were okay. It's just knowing where those peaks and troughs were. And number 3, and this was the crucial, in fact, one of the most crucial parts of their business, but we couldn't do it without having step number 2 and step number 1 in place, was putting together a profit allocation system that allowed them to split every single dollar that came into their business in the 5 key areas that needed to be paid across their business. So let's fast forward to what's happened with this business now that they've started implementing across those 3 areas. You know, their debt's starting to get paid down. They're starting to allocate money to themselves, to their profit, to the return on what they're putting in. They've got clarity over their numbers and they know what to do when they need to take further steps within their business to improve their business and to improve their lives. And number 3, they're actually planning out to sell the business within 3 years. They've got the clarity, they're taking control, and they've now got the confidence in what's coming next. Now, if I were to start a business, or I'm in business right now and I felt that I've lost my way, those are the 3 areas that I'd stop and look at immediately. Now, I'm gonna give you a bonus step. That's step 4. What would be the step 4? It's getting someone to bring the accountability and create the implementation within your business. You know, business life is tough. It's lonely and it's busy. And having someone there to actually get, roll the sleeves up and start helping you with it is really the missing piece out of this. So step 4 for you is the crucial one, because without that little piece, that 4th step in the puzzle, that you can forget about potentially getting the 3 done. Now, if what I'm saying is resonating with you, if what I'm saying sounds like it's kind of happening in your space, if you don't have the clarity, the control, or the confidence in what you're doing right now in your business and where it's going, then I want you to reach out. I want you to think about it. I want you to share this message, and I want you to let me know how things are going. I'm Nadi, Elias. This is Daily Espresso. Get cracking.